Welcome to the Diversity Connector podcast, where we explore the rich tapestry of human experiences. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the country on which we meet today. I would also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging, and together as we dive into conversations that bridge cultures, challenge stereotypes, and celebrate the unique perspectives each of us brings to the table. Each episode is a journey through stories and insights from a kaleidoscope of voices, each sharing their colorful narrative. Whether you're at home, on the go, or just anywhere in between, you're now part of a community that values understanding, inclusivity, and the beauty of diversity. So plug in your headphones, get comfortable, and let's connect through the power of our shared stories. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the Diversity Connector podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Diversity Connector. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your amazing journey with us today.
Hi, I'm Bridget Goodwin. I'm an apitherapist, a herbalist, completing my naturopathy degree. I'm the president of the Australian Apitherapy Association, doing a lot of work to try and raise awareness about apitherapy, which is medicine from the beehive. I'm a beekeeper. I became very interested in this subject maybe 4 years ago when I accidentally reversed somebody's skin cancer and I didn't know what I'd done. Thank you, COVID. I spent a lot of time studying, trying to find out about apitherapy, and found out that it was so amazing that I wanted to try and raise awareness about it and try and let people in Australia know about this extraordinary medicine. For my sins, I've managed to connect with some incredible people around the world who work in this space because apitherapy is practiced in 80 countries in the world, just not Australia yet. I recently went to China on a very privileged trip with 25 other foreign visitors for the 4th International Apitherapy Conference under the umbrella of traditional Chinese medicine in China, where it has been practiced for 4,000 years. So fresh from China, I'm really charged up to talk about apitherapy and help people understand what's possible, because I was privileged to hear presentations from many countries talking about treating Parkinson's disease, preventing Alzheimer's, treating arthritis, multiple sclerosis, asthma, acne, psoriasis, a whole lot of health issues that we find very difficult to treat in Western medicine. I'm doing a lot of work to try and professionalize apitherapy in Australia. That's really difficult as it's not recognised, but fortunately, because of the work I've been doing with international groups, I'm getting a lot of support from countries where apitherapy is established. And we're also connected to the International Federation of Apitherapy. And the support that I'm getting from many countries is so very humbling and fantastic. So my story is I came to this because a while ago I did a doctoral thesis on experimental chemical warfare experiments in Australia on Australian soldiers, which I now understand to have been the origins of chemotherapy. And it really bugs me that they introduced chemotherapy straight after the Second World War and didn't really reveal that it was actually had origins as mustard gas from wartime. I'm very interested in non-toxic treatments for cancer. And I've recently completed a postdoctoral thesis through the Canadian Bioquantum Academy on treating cancer with bee venom and photodynamic therapy, non-toxic treatments. Again, not known in Australia, but certainly when I was in China, I saw a lot of presentations about this kind of treatment. And there is actually a lot in the medical literature about how effective it is. Personally, I think my own health has improved significantly since I got involved in bee medicine. I've cured my own asthma, which I'm so happy about. I'm fending off osteoarthritis and ankylosing spondylitis, which I thought that was just from years of having asthma that I had a sore spine, but now that's under control thanks to bee medicine. And I'm able to help people and talk to people about how they can help themselves with these difficult to treat illnesses.
Have you run out of steam?
Everything sort of flashed and I thought maybe my time was up. So
No. Can you see the timer in the top corner?
okay, so is that when the time? I'll keep going if you like.
Yeah. The top corner of the screen, you can see the time. On the
Okay.
top right, left-hand corner, can you see it?
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess other things that I've done in my career, I was working as an ABC reporter a long time ago and became very interested in long form filmmaking, and I left the ABC to make documentary films because at that time you couldn't do that with inside the ABC. Set up my own film company and made a few documentary films, which was fantastic fun. I think it really helped me to understand that my ideas are really solid and that I've got a lot of drive and creativity to go after things when they take my interest. And I found that work to be very helpful and affirming, and also got to be very good at pitching when I had ideas to try and sell ideas. And this kind of background, journalism, filmmaking, deep research really helps me a lot. I find I draw on that a great deal. I don't know about breaking boundaries, as Gertrude says I have. Maybe I have, but I think I'm the sort of person that if I'm really interested in something, I just go for it. Right now, I'm going for trying to raise the profile of apitherapy in Australia, and there seems to be some exciting things on the horizon. I've just been asked to help organise an international conference of apitherapy for Asian Apiarist Association, all the Asian countries coming to Perth in June next year. That's from Thailand, Japan, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, China. And I'm actually working with academics in Western Australia to try and develop new projects for beekeepers in the context of hopefully future apitherapy projects, because these industries currently don't exist in Australia. And I find it fascinating to think of trying to set up programs that currently don't exist, that are sustainable, that are helping small businesses, they're helping medical understanding, and they're expanding research and the sort of things that we need to do to tackle serious health issues that currently aren't being addressed by Western medicine. I can tell you that I understand from the apotherapists internationally that apitherapy is regarded as the queen of medical treatments. In China, we were told by many experts that it's central to traditional Chinese medicine, but they understand about apitherapy that it's used kind of like the big guns. They use it when everything else fails. They know that Western medicine can't tackle some things, traditional Chinese medicine can't tackle some things, and then they call on apitherapy as the treatment that will come in and usually get fantastic results. So it's using all of the bee products, the bee venom, the propolis, um, the honey, the pollen, and royal jelly. So when people research apitherapy, they're analysing the medicinal properties of all of these bee products that I like to think we've sort of taken for granted because they're so ancient and they're around, and people think they're innocuous, but they're certainly not innocuous. When I studied my apitherapy diploma with Dr. Stefan Stangaciu of Romania, he likes to say, think of the bees as clever little pharmacists because everything they make is medicinal. And now I understand exactly what he means. So there are a lot of conferences that are held internationally, and in recent years there's been a lot on Zoom, which means I've made lots of friends around the world through the laptop at many of these conferences, and it was great to be able to see them in China a few weeks ago. And these are microbiologists, vets, dentists, doctors, professors, food scientists, pharmacists, all exploring the benefits of apitherapy. And it's quite remarkable what you learn, what you see, and how advanced many countries are. For example, there's a professor of pediatrics in Egypt who, since the year 2000, that's 23 years ago, they've been treating asthma, bronchitis, and pneumonia in children, nebulizing honey, special honey from Egypt, I guess, but no asthma drugs, no steroids, and very successfully. That same professor gave us a presentation for our Australian conference last year on how he's been treating corneal blindness with honey as well, which is amazing and showing incredible results. And this year I've asked him to give us a talk on what he's doing, which I can't find anywhere else in the world, where they're actually using intravenous honey for medicine in the veins through a drip. So let's see what that comes up with. I heard a fantastic presentation from a woman, a vet from Chile, who was treating animals with very serious injuries and having fantastic results. And her community ganged up on her and said, "We want you to treat us too." So she told me that she has in her clinic one side for the animals and the other side for the humans, all using apitherapy, which is great. Also heard a fantastic presentation from an apitherapist in Romania about how she treats, has had very successful remissions from multiple sclerosis using apitherapy, and that was really, really amazing. Presentations from Russia about successful treatments for Parkinson's disease using apitherapy, and many presentations from China about how they treat cancer in apitherapy hospitals in China. And that was an amazing thing too about the trip, that there is such a beast as an apitherapy hospital. In China, they have at least 20 of them. And I was very fortunate to visit a couple when I was there. But many other countries do as well. Turkey does, Romania, Russia, Slovenia, Korea, I believe Japan and China. So in Australia, we've got a lot to learn, a lot to catch up on. And from my perspective, there's a lot to do. So from my little mountaintop off grid with my own tiny apiary, I end up doing a lot of research and writing and trying to raise awareness about this extremely important area of natural medicine. So I'm not sure what else you need me to say, Gertrude, but it's a great honour to join you.
Wow, what a wonderful career you have had with apitherapy. What fascinates me, and I would really love our listeners to know, is how did you get started? Was this something that was in your family? Was this because of your own condition?
Well, I was in my own family. We were the classic Aussie family that were on the beach with a no sun protection and with this terrible Irish skin that shouldn't be in those sort of conditions. And many people in my family have quite serious skin cancer. And I got interested in how you repair that. And I was running a business, or still do run a business, doing laser skin rejuvenation treatments. And I had been researching Korean skincare because it's really quite fascinating how the Koreans use technology and natural products. And I was thinking, why are the Koreans so into honey and propolis? And I'd actually made up some kind of honey product cream. And I got cornered by someone who owned a business where I was doing some training in Queensland. And she said, can you do something about my face? Because she had quite bad skin cancer, basal cell carcinoma all over her face. And I said, no, I can't. You have to go to the doctor and have that cut out, you know. And she said, oh, no, I don't want to do that. I really want you to help me. And I said, well, go to the doctor and ask permission and we'll try, but I can't promise anything. And I was using or training with a cold plasma device, which does amazing skin treatments. And as it turns out, the cold plasma is also anti-cancer, anti-tumoral. So I treated her with the cold. She got permission from the doctor. The doctor said to her, when it doesn't work, come back and I'll cut it out. So none of us expected this would work. So anyway, I tried and I gave her this combination of bee products that I'd put together as like an aftercare. And what happened was that the basal cell carcinoma scabs fell off her face on her bed sheets a few days later. And she was using the bee products for aftercare and her skin cleared and the cancer didn't come back. And we're all blown away, especially me. That's why I always say I accidentally reversed somebody's skin cancer. And then I just had to know more about what I'd done. And since then, I've been studying and learnt that a lot of the bee products are anti-cancer. And this was not a surprise at all to apitherapists around the world.
How fascinating. Now, bees are in danger of extinction right now.
Yeah.
In most countries, a lot of bees are just falling from the sky. What can be done to reverse this? What awareness is there globally to protect bees?
Well, I don't think we're very tuned into how much the bees are being affected by climate change. That's a serious concern. Certainly environmental issues are a problem. In Australia, we're giving our bees a really hard time. They've gone through bushfires. We're going around destroying them for varroa mite at the moment, which some people try and argue is justifiable. But in Europe and America, they point out to Australians that there's ways to manage that that are not toxic and the bees don't have to be destroyed. But that's a terribly complex area. I know that in apitherapy, we encourage people to become beekeepers and to support the bees, do everything we can to help them. And certainly this incredible natural medicine means that we need to be very careful about the bees. And certainly going to China, the Chinese have this enormous industry of bee products and very sophisticated beekeeping arrangements, and we could learn a lot from them about how they're nurturing the habitats and encouraging bees. And I think that being aware of what we can do to protect them is very important. And I encourage people to get involved in all sorts of things in their gardens, or encourage bees, also encourage planting the sort of plants that bees love. And the bees always show you where that is.
That's just awesome. Now, as a filmmaker, that was a new territory you launched into. And digital storytelling and filmmaking is a very powerful way to get one's message across. Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in that. What were your documentaries about?
Oh, well, when I was an ABC reporter, I was very annoying to the cameraman because I'd always be like, oh, yeah, how do we frame this? Let's frame the shot. I was, I guess, so interested in photography. I studied photography and I was always very keen on photography. And I was very fortunate because I worked with some fantastic old ABC cameramen that were patient with me and used to help me. And I learned a lot about framing and the classic way to shoot, to use a tripod, lighting, the best time of day to shoot, clever ways to get images into a picture. I really enjoyed that collaboration that is essential in filmmaking, and I was fortunate to work with some fantastic people. And then when the new digital cameras came in and they became more affordable, I immediately, of course, set up my own equipment. And really, for financial reasons, I had to learn to do it myself. And because I'd had this great experience, I managed to shoot and edit a lot of my own work. Although I will say, something I did learn about filmmaking from working with some great people is it's so much better if you have other people on your team that can bring more to the table than you can yourself. And I really was very fortunate to have had that experience. However, it just means that you're serially addicted to the storytelling, to the photography, to the idea. And, you know, I would love, for example, just to go around the world right now making a film about apitherapy. And, you know, you always think about doing that. It's a little bit, I will say, being a filmmaker is a little bit like being a drug addict because you just want to keep doing it.
Storytelling will do that to you, right?
Yeah.
Now, your confidence in pitching your ideas, putting yourself out there is quite unique. A lot of women will hold back because they don't feel they have what it takes to get their ideas across. So, if there was a woman who is listening to this podcast right now, she knows she has a brilliant idea. Based on what life has taught you, what three nuggets of wisdom can you impart to somebody who wants to put themselves out there?
Well, I will preface all of this by saying I've had my ideas stolen. I've had to learn to be really careful about how I share my ideas because I've pitched an idea to somebody without protecting the idea, without documenting that I've got the idea. And next thing you see, 6 months later, you see it on the screen. You think, hang on a minute, I remember pitching that idea to that person. So yeah, that is really a really hard lesson because you know, it is such a fairly, well, very competitive, aggressive industry. And if you have an idea, you need to get some advice on how to package it, how to pitch it, and how to safeguard it. Um, but certainly, what I've learned is if you have an idea that you think is worth backing, you should just go for it. I can count on probably one hand the times I've had an idea. It came to me so strongly that I had to say, if I was doing something else, pull over by the side of the road and stop and think, oh, yes, I know what I have to do now. You know, I have to change my life around and make this film. That's happened to me a few times. And when I followed it through, it's ended up being like a, I guess, full length documentary that went the whole way and was marketed and was broadcast in multiple countries. And that's wonderful. The frustrating thing about filmmaking is that each time, though, you have to start on the ground floor with everybody else pitching, and it is stupidly competitive. I think that I started submitting material that was almost half done. Like I'd start shooting footage and submit that because often people can't understand what you're trying to tell them. Although the way it's done, people want you to put it all in writing and treatments and that sort of thing, which I don't know if anyone really reads that. I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're putting an idea forward, it has to be a compelling idea and it has to be visual, and people need to be able to see it so clearly that they get what you're trying to tell them. And that actually requires a lot of effort and a lot of skill. And I won't say that I've always been successful because I haven't. Filmmakers refer to what they call the bottom drawer projects, and I've certainly got a few of those that have never made it out of the bottom drawer.
That's wonderful. Now, you have sat on a number of boards. Again, there is very little representation of women as board members. How has this come to being? Did you pitch yourself? Were you nominated by someone? Tell us about your board experience and why that's important.
I think I think I've probably just been asked to be on boards, or it might have been something that I was generating myself and ended up being the loudest person in the room and ended up with the job. Um, I think that if I'm really passionate about something, I don't mind going to meetings, doing lots of volunteering, lots of additional work, and I find it easy to communicate the ideas that need to be put across. I'm not really sure what else I can say about that. I think it's really important to get into those governance areas where decisions are made, and often people bring to the table ideas that you haven't thought of, or they may have expertise that will help you develop your project in ways that you hadn't thought of. So I think it's important to be open to collaboration and open to sharing ideas and being willing to work with people. So I think it's all about being strategic and trying to work out how you can put people together in those sort of senior levels so that your projects come to fruition. Right now, I'm working with the International Federation of Apitherapy, trying to get some traction in Australia, and I'm very fortunate that they're helping me. And when I set up the Australian Apitherapy Association, they said, connect to the International Federation and we will support you. And that sort of strategy is, I think, giving me tremendous support and encouragement when otherwise I think I'd really struggle.
That's awesome. Now let's finish our interview with me teleporting you into the future. So if time was an illusion and I could take you into the future to the 90-year-old you, you're sitting on your rocking chair surrounded by your children, your dogs, your cats, whoever is there with you at that time. If you could have a conversation with that 90-year-old wise woman who has led you to that point, what would you say to her based on how you're living your life right now?
Gee, I think I would just say keep going, keep trying, keep doing it, keep learning, keep studying, keep writing, keep pitching. There's just so much to learn all the time. I think that I keep studying, and I find that study and being willing to learn more is really powerful. And certainly, I think that you can't say you know it all. You just can't. And I hope that 90-year-old lady is still writing, still being a beekeeper, still wanting to make films on a walking frame. And I can see that I won't be stopping anytime soon.
Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for tuning in today and sharing your wisdom with us, Bridget. It's just fascinating to see somebody who's out there living their life to the full and making a difference. And like you said, the bees of the world need to be protected. We all need to be aware of the small things we can do in our own gardens, in our backyards, to help the bees survive. So thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. Thank you for your work, Gertrude. Congratulations on your excellent work.
Thank you. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Diversity Connector is bringing people from all over the world online to share their ideas, the magic of what they are doing to change the world. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Bridget, thanks again for the interview. Bye for now, everybody. That's a wrap, everybody, on today's episode of the Diversity Connector podcast. Thank you for tuning in and being part of our vibrant and global conversation. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a tapestry of diverse perspectives. Remember, every story you've heard today is a thread in the larger fabric of our shared humanity. So, as you step back into your world, carry these stories with you and let them inspire you to embrace and celebrate the rich diversity around us. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these inspiring stories with more listeners. Do follow us on social media by looking for the Diversity Connector podcast for more updates. Until then, keep connecting, keep listening, and keep celebrating the beauty of diversity. This is the Diversity Connector podcast signing off. Stay curious, stay open, and definitely